but then all of a sudden you'll just zip and you'll be in Altair's shoes for 30 minutes of gameplay, and then like all of a sudden you'll be in I think it's is it Ezio's shoes for 30 minutes of gameplay. So like I think that's really interesting, especially since like I honestly like the sequel to Assassin's Creed. I knew it was an amazing game. I knew it was better than the original, but I really, all I wanted that crusade. I wanted to be out there in the crusade with like Muslims and Christians and running around killing people in like Jerusalem. I wasn't really that interested
Racist.
I wasn't really that interested in going to Italy and killing Italians because they're. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you make an interesting point. I would have rather.
I'm not racist.
I would have rather
not racist.
I would have rather play in the Crusades as well. I thought it had a better setting, the first one. But I thought Italy was decent, and I liked the Da Vinci edition, and like you got to like ride in his stuff, and that was kind of cool. But since this is Epic Digression, is it Epic Digression or Epic Digressions?
I think it should just be Epic Digression. Like, It's just one.
Okay, so I'd like to digress. If you have seen the movie Source Code. Have you seen the movie Source Code?
It's the one with the train, right?
Yes.
I have not, but I at least know the premise. Explain it for everyone else.
Okay, I'll go over the premise. And I came up with this because we were talking about Assassin's Creed. What happens in Source Code is they take a body that is right between life and death, and they're like brain dead, but they have enough electrical circuitry in them that someone can hook them up and then place that person in another person's body for the last 8 seconds of their life. So they kind of switch lives for the last 8 seconds. And that's kind of just the premise. You have to accept it. So they're sending this agent into someone in the train's body to find out where the terrorists are going to bomb next, because they bombed this train. And so the premise is fine and everything. But what happens is, and it's hard to say this to someone who hasn't seen the movie, but the corporal or whoever they're using their body, that guy's body, to go into the other guy's body, the corporal, he is in that other man's body, and he meets this girl on the train, and every time he keeps going back in, because the train keeps blowing up without him finding out his information, every time he goes back in, he talks to this girl a little bit more and starts to like really like her and like fall in love with her, and he's sad that she dies, like, because this has already happened in the past. This 8-minute window that he's going into happened in the past, and so he's just finding out the information to prevent the bombing that's going to happen later in the day. So he gets sent in one last time, and he figures out the bombing and everything, and he saves the woman. Now, all his duty was to get information and send it back so that they could stop the second bombing. That would be fine as far as timelines and time travel, that kind of stuff. But he goes back in and saves the woman. That creates a new timeline. It has to, because the train doesn't blow up in this timeline.
Right.
But the problem is, he now exists as a living thing. He exists. But so does his body with the brain-dead brain. And so there's two of him in one world. And they wouldn't have sent him back yet if the train hadn't exploded. They wouldn't have had a mission.
So what you're saying is, alright, we got Brain Dead Man in Timeline A.
Yes.
And they send him back in time to inhabit...
They don't send him back in time.
Let's just say for convenience sake, send him back in time. Send him back in time to inhabit a live person on the train.
But the live person is now dead. They have their body, and they're also in the brain-dead state. That's why they're kind of like syncing up their minds.
Okay. But don't they send him back in time to the point where the now brain dead person is alive on the train?
Right, it's before the train's blown up.
Okay. So
It's 8 minutes before the train blows up.
Okay. So we have a brain dead mind inside a different body that is alive.
Right.
In the past.
Yes.
Movies are getting complicated. Okay,
However, this was not as complicated as...
don't say Inception.
Yeah, Inception.
Inception is not complicated.
The thing about Inception is there's about 3 different theories that go with everything that happens and lead to different conclusions. So it's literally just up to your interpretation.
I really think in Inception you just have to accept it. You just take in all the images and sound that are going on right there.
If you want to talk about Inception, let's talk about Inception.
I'm not talking about
just
Inception.
Let's give it 1 second.
I don't think I know enough about Inception to talk about it.
Let me just tell you what I know, and I will blow your mind. So you know how they were trying to do Inception?
The ring is in and inside of the thing. The ring doesn't spin, but it's actually the other person's thingy-mabob. That's it, right?
That's one thing.
Okay,
but
go ahead.
No.
Sorry, that's what
they were doing Inception on that guy, the company, right?
Yep.
But it could have easily been the Chinese guy doing Inception on Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh my god, my mind's just been blown.
No, it hasn't. But seriously, that is totally possible. And then Leonardo DiCaprio at the end believes he is with his kids or whatever. And so they did Inception on him.
I mean...
Like, there's so many possibilities, and there's so many loose ends.
I would need to go through and watch it again.
No, twice isn't enough. 3 times isn't enough. You need to literally watch it about 5 times.
I know.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Source code, at least you can be like...
all I think about Inception is it's such an enjoyable film to watch that just stop thinking about it and accept everything that happens. Don't overthink it. Just accept what happens. Because I have people talk to me, and they have trouble even just accepting the fact that there's a machine that lets your dreams, lets you live in them.
I think you have to accept premises of movies. That's why I accept the premise of source code.
That's what I told that person. I was like, that's a premise. You have to accept the premise. Maybe it seems wildly crazy, but it's science fiction. They're introducing a technology that doesn't exist now. If they didn't, then it wouldn't be science fiction.
Right. The premise of source code was I accepted it, and the movie was awesome until the end, where the new reality is created, and he has now another life.
What's wrong? What is wrong with that? What is your problem with that happening?
You have to watch the movie to get it. This is your assignment for our next podcast: is to watch this movie in 10-minute increments on YouTube.
I would have to go to a sketchier site than YouTube to see that. How about we get back on to
Resistance 3?
Well, no. wait, because not necessarily something we forgot to cover, but I think that we should talk about Skyrim while we're over here on the 360.
Do you want to get Skyrim done, and then we'll go into the PS3? Because I have something I have an intro question about the PS3.
Okay, so let's just talk about Skyrim a little bit. I have to say, I'm disappointed.
Really?
What did I learn about Skyrim?
Nothing.
What
did you learn about anything in the Microsoft press conference?
I learned that Microsoft knows where to find the crappiest actors in the world. No, but I learned that. I learned they announced Halo 4. They announced these other Halo games. There's a lot of information there. But I feel like Skyrim, basically they showed up and they just had this guy, Todd Howard, go around. Well, I shouldn't say this guy. I'm pretty sure he's pretty prominent over there at Bethesda. Anyway, they had him go around, show off this demo that I'm pretty sure I've seen almost everything from before. Or maybe it's hard for me to remember now, but I feel like I didn't really learn anything. I didn't really see that much that was new. Maybe I saw someone riding a horse that was new, but I know people ride horses in the Elder Scrolls. I at this point, I mean, yeah, we don't really need to know anything new to know that we're buying this game and we're gonna play it for 200 hours. But their presence was subpar.
I mean, I'm still excited.
Oh, so am I. Anyway, I just want to get that out there, and just that, like, I thought this Todd Howard guy was a pretty interesting character because, like, he's great to watch in interviews, just because he's, like, he knows his shit and, like, he's out there talking about the game. But one thing that I thought was really funny is, like, pretty much at the end of every list of, like, what's in there, like, he'll talk about, like, the new like leveling up system or the perks or something. Pretty much at the end of every list, he's just like, and dragons. There are dragons in this game. Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, that I'm just a little disappointed in the presence at E3, but it's not going to make me, like, not buy the game.
Right. I just wait and see what else they show.
Yeah.
All right. So PS3. What did you think of Jack Tretton's apology? And I say Jack Tretton's apology in air quotes because it was an apology.
Oh, well, what specifically are you talking? Like,
he came out. The first thing he started talking about, like, this isn't the first time I walked in with an elephant in the room, and then he was like, he never said sorry or apologized. He just said, you've been worried about security and, like, don't be, because look at how awesome we are. And then they just went into, like, the press conference.
I don't think that's particularly bad because, like,
they've already given an apology, right?
Well, yeah, that's part of customer service. This press conference is press conference. It's to the press. It's not to the consumers.
But he almost made a joke out of it at one point, and I was like, that's a little bit too far.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in bad taste. But, I mean, at least they're talking about it.
Yeah.
The real distinction I think that you have to make is this event, although consumers have taken it over, and so much to this extent that E3 started to be canceled. But this event is for press. It's for the video game companies to give information to the press so that they can give it to the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not customer service,
Yeah. All right. Resistance 3, did you have any comments? I thought all I came out thinking was there's too much going on, way too many explosions. I guess I finally have figured out that there is such a thing as too many explosions.
I mean, like, I'll be honest, for the entire Sony conference, I shouldn't say the entire thing, but for, like, a majority of it, like, and this can be said about any company, but for whatever reason, maybe it's just because I don't own one, it was like sequels city, and all these sequels are going to be fantastic, right? You got Resistance 2, you got Uncharted 3, they're coming out with a new Sly Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
There's many more than I've just mentioned. Got a new Little Big Planet.
How about Eco and Shadow of the Colossus on the PS3 in 3D?
I'm really excited about that, and that actually might. That with the Uncharted series, I mean, I know I'm late to the boat here, but, like, that might get me to go and get a PS3 because
the only reason I wouldn't get a PS3 is, like, you're not missing that much.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, and let's be honest, like, you could probably give me Battlefield 3 and a new video card, and you wouldn't see me for 6 months because, like, that's gonna take over a good portion of my life, and that's not even counting, the time I'm gonna put into Skyrim, I'm gonna put into Gears 3, like.
One of the coolest things that I saw in all of these press conferences is split screen without the split screen.
That might be I have to agree, that might be the coolest thing I saw technologically out of E3. And so what this is Sony, the way that 3D works on televisions now is that, let's say your game runs at 60 frames a second. Well, they'll put out 120 frames a second, and every other frame goes to your left eye, or I should say, every other frame goes to your left eye, and then the remaining frames go to your right eye. And so you have to wear these special glasses that will open the shutter, 120 times in a second or whatever.